The more time I spend on projects outside of my home, the more I realize that I'm at my absolute best when I'm here, when I'm helping the people that I love, and when the only distractions are actually the only work that truly matters. Today, we're going to tackle some of those projects that have been put to the side as I educate my crew, refresh my spring wardrobe, tackle some chores, and complete our monthly grocery run while hoping to dodge some really nasty storms that are ahead. This is my circus. These are my monkeys, and this is a day in my life. On one of my recent videos, I received a comment from a viewer who really spurred me on to show you exactly what goes on in a day around our house. She said she was in a season of life with 4 kids, ages 6 and under, and that life was overwhelming at times. She said that my videos were encouraging and really helpful. So I wanted to bring you guys along for a full day so you could get a view of just what it looks like on the inside and all that goes on behind the scenes. Every single morning before my tiny little assistant opens her eyes, she starts asking for breakfast. And on this day, like many others, eggs were her request. My son also decided to have eggs, so we sat down for a family meal, just the 3 of us, while everybody else was still asleep. It's times like this when I really enjoy sitting down to discuss my plans of the day with my oldest and see if he wants to make any modifications to the schedule. While we do have a basic timeline for how things go, the beauty of homeschooling is flexibility. This is very important on days like this because my kids usually spend several hours outside in the afternoon, but those storms are incoming later. So as a result, we plan to tackle the bulk of our hands-on schooling activities before 10 a.m. so they could be outside roughly from 10 to noon, just depending on what's going on. With breakfast out of the way and a fresh cup of tea in hand, we sat down to tackle today's math lesson. Now, we typically do main core subjects 4 days a week and then take the extra day off as a flex day just to accomplish things around the house. So on this day, we needed to get everything accomplished so we can make sure to have Friday off, which is one of his favorite things of the entire week. The hands-on teaching time for him is around 15 to 20 minutes, and that just depends on what type of game we're playing or if there's a game involved, as well as what's all involved in the lesson. He is doing exceptionally well and catching on really fast, and we're really lucky to be a part of a pilot program testing out the 5th grade program for Math with Confidence, which is what you're seeing here. Now, while I was working with him, my daughter, who is my most eager student by far, brought her book in and was wanting to get started on some of her lessons as well. I will say that I really find the difference between my boys and my daughter very, very fascinating when it comes to the schoolwork. She will sneak her book into her church bag and pull it out sometimes if she wants something to color on, and they are having nothing to do with it. As the kids were working, I heard somebody on the back porch, and quickly she flew off into the garden, which is a coming project because that can't happen once I have stuff growing out there. As we wrapped up math, the remaining kiddos were coming down the stairs and up for the day, which is a perfect time for them to go ahead and jump into their morning chores. My 2 girls, as well as my second son, are tackling the dishwasher this morning. That is a normal routine for them. We generally start that around age 3 because they need to be members of the house and contributing as well. This definitely is not a one-woman job to keep up with the entire house, so the kids have various chores throughout the house that really makes everything run just a bit more smoothly. Now, this little lady was the last to arrive this morning. Typically 9:30 is a little later than everybody sleeps, but we had stayed up pretty late the night before, had a bonfire outside, so I let them sleep just as long as they want because sleep is so important to the overall attitude of the entire house. Now, as the kids were cleaning up the rest of breakfast, well, the ones that ate early, the others were going ahead and grabbing something to eat, and I decided to go ahead and take a quick run through the floor for the first round of the day. I will say this is not something that I really foresaw being a multiple time of day process before I had multiple kids. But I can tell you our floor is constantly dirty. There are things just going on all the time. And if you are going to be home and your kitchen is going to be used, your broom is also going to be used. Now, one of the beauties of homeschooling is the relationship that our kids have with each other. My guys love their baby sister and they play with her all the time. And they are always up to something, and she can handle her own. Now, when she gets a little out of hand, of course there are conversations, but they were play fighting and egging her on, so I kind of let him go just a little bit before bringing my guy in to sit down for the last math lesson of the day. Now you can see she retreats to me for a little bit of protection. She also retreats to me because she has a thing for dry erase boards. So when she saw us getting out math for the second grader, she decided to come in and join us because she could not wait one more minute. Mental math skills are the name of the game today, so once we worked out a few problems on the board, we moved on to our game. This one is called 4 in a row, and we are just working through these problems together. And I did tell him we didn't have to play the entire game. If he could do 6 or 7 in a row without any problem, then we didn't have to work through the entire thing, and he did an excellent job. So allowing us to clean up and move on and save the erase board from any more work from the little one. Now, this time it's 10:30. I sent all the kids out back. They went out to play and they were just having a grand old time while I finished up what I normally do to get ready for a day. Now, I don't always get completely ready, as any mom at home knows, but on this day I did, and I also moved on to the next step in my process. I have been really amazed, or should I say scared, when I watch some of my recent videos looking at what I have been wearing. And my 2-year-old recently told me that something I had on was way too big for me. So as we move into spring, I wanted to grab a couple new dresses to fit the coming season. The one you just saw there was a linen floral, and I really did like it, but I felt like it was just a touch big. This one looked plain in comparison, and this last one I really do love, this coral color. The first two were a linen, but this is a cotton. Now, one thing for me, for any dress to hang around, it must have pockets, and it must be something that's casual and comfortable that I can wear around the kids, out into the garden, and all around the house without worrying about what's going on. I have found in recent years that I really love dresses for spring, and I would love your input. Now, this embroidered one, my daughter actually super loved when she came in to see it. And I'm thinking it was a little bit too big, so I'm thinking of downsizing, but they do have several other colors. Now, if you're ever looking for something similar, I'll make sure to put all of the links for the dresses down below in the comments, so you're welcome to take a look for those. And I also have the link to the shorts that I'm wearing in this video. I just recently got those. I find it really hard to find a pair of jean shorts that will fit and be long enough for a mom and loose, but not too loose. I don't know. It's just super hard. So I love these, and I'll drop them down below. Now, while I was wrapping up my returns, I remembered that I had one more package downstairs. So I went and grabbed this dress. This is from a company called Normal People, I believe, and it's really cute, soft, and I did like the color, but I just found that the neckline wasn't right for me. And also, I'm a little bit, or should I say really, observant of a price point. I feel like the price point on this one was a little more than something I would be comfortable wearing around the house all the time. So I did end up sending this one back as well. I will tell you, a couple of weeks ago, I actually went to the mall for the first time in like 15 years, and I was ready to go and get back to my purchasing, trying on at home, and returning process as soon as possible. I just don't have it in me to go and walk around all those stores and look at all the things that really aren't appropriate for what I'm doing. So I have found that this is the most effective method for me. And I typically don't buy more than a few things every season, but I do like to try on multiples. So what do you think? Which ones did you like? Was there one that I should have kept that I sent back? I have been known to reorder if needed. So let me know your thoughts. I'm always open to hearing what others have to say. With everything packed up, we headed back downstairs to go ahead and get the return labels all processed and printed out so we could get those dropped off as one of our errands today. Also pictured is my next project of the day, which is tackling that recycling pile. If I don't keep it somewhat under control, and I say somewhat because this looks out of control, but if I don't get this stuff out of here, my kids are going to start pulling it out and crafting. And if you have kids like mine, they can stay busy with that for hours, but that also comes with the result of trash, or recycling, shall I say, all over the house and all sorts of cardboard creations that they are going to want to keep forever. And while I understand and appreciate their creations, Sometimes I don't want to find more pieces cut up all over the floor and more treasures that need to be hung onto for an indefinite amount of time. So we're going to go ahead and tackle this while the sheets are printing out. We're packing it up and we're taking it to our local recycle center. We are lucky in that we have a single sort, so we don't have to actually put every single piece in individual bins or anything of the kind. We can just take this box down there, dump it in, and be ready to go. So once we had this stuff out of the way and the packages all loaded up with their tags on them and ready to drop off, we went ahead and loaded up the car. Now, I will say with 5 kids, this is one of those things that can take a minute. Now, I do have help that can help me load the items, which I really appreciate, but getting all 5 little hands in the car and buckled is a task of its own. We're about 5 hours into the day. It's straight up noon, and we are definitely not ready for lunch. So we went ahead and dropped off the recycling. The boys are a great help at this, and I always love to take them along just for this reason. Neither one can wait to find out which of these bins is actually going to be empty enough to take everything in. Now, sometimes it's a real challenge, but on this day, both sides were completely empty. So we went ahead and got this box, and as you can see, that was not the plan. The plan is to empty the Chewy box, we take it back home, and we continue to use it for our recycling moving forward. Once it gets damaged enough to get rid of, we will have a new one coming in the mail because I order all of our chicken feed from them. If you haven't ordered through them, might I say, they are really awesome, super fast shipping, and save a ton of money. So now back to that list. We are done with the recycling, which is awesome, and here I'm dropping off our returns at a local UPS drop station. Since both of those things are really convenient to my house, it makes errands like this a breeze. Now, this little girl is, oh, she is so cute. She's making snow angels, as she says, of course, not snow, but wood angels, in our kitchen floor as I go ahead and warm up lunch. Now, one thing about our lunches, I do tend to really utilize leftovers. I find that this is a huge help to my day, and everybody can kind of customize what is their favorite item to eat. So we're sitting down here and somebody's having tacos, somebody else is having a baked potato, there's some steak that's left over and fajitas. So we went ahead and wrapped up everybody's lunch and got them cleaning up while we sat down to finish the last item on the list for our homeschool day, which is reading for my son. Now, I'm telling you guys it's the last item. It's the last hands-on item for me. As I take my little one upstairs, the guys will pull out their math worksheets that they needed accomplished, and my older son will have his private reading time while I take her upstairs to take a rest. Now, this is one that she will not let you forget. She will tell you when she's tired and she needs to go. Now, once I got her to sleep, I snuck back down to go ahead and work on some more of the items on that list. And as you can see here, he's finishing up math and the thunder was rolling. So I snuck outside to grab all of the eggs before everything started getting wet and nasty and the weather started coming in. This is something right here. He's getting down our seed starting stuff. I have wanted/needed to do this for weeks, but one project after another has stolen all the time that we needed to accomplish it. Normally, at this time of day, while she's sleeping, would be when we would start prepping our dinner meal. But instead, we decided to get these seeds planted. And as you can see, she didn't last super long upstairs without me staying close. So now she's down here to join us as we start putting together our seeds for the spring. We planted peppers, tomatoes, and I did go ahead and order some onion starts. I really feel about November, like I'm going to be able to get started early enough to get my onions off to a good start. And every year I have failed so far, with this being our third year gardening. So I have that on my list for this fall again. We'll see if 2024 or 25 gardening season is the one where I can go ahead and actually get my own onions out. But for now, I just went ahead and ordered. This year, I did upgrade my seed starting stuff. This is Bootstrap Farmer in the tray as well as in these 6-cell cups. And I have some different sizes that I can upgrade these to as they continue to grow. But in previous years, I have started in red solo cups and some tiny little lights. But I decided, since we have had such a great luck growing our own food, that we needed to up our game just a little bit more so we could have our seeds and our starts off to a little better of a process. I had visions of the beautiful wire racks and the nice huge growing station in my basement like I've seen many of my YouTube friends have. But in reality, once I went downstairs and looked around in my basement, I realized that I have some really old shelving down there that'll work just fine. And I think often as moms, we get caught in this trap of comparison and thinking that we need all the things just because we see somebody else have them. But in reality, most of the time, all that we have is all that we need. Now, let's see how long I can remember that as I'm looking at something else online thinking it's something that I need really soon. Time will tell. But right now, what you're seeing is the girls going ahead and dropping in those first pepper seeds. Now, this is one thing that gets really hard when you're letting little ones do it, because I want to know what's in every cup. I don't want to be surprised that a specific pepper turns out to not be what I have planned. But when tiny hands are involved, the truth is you got to just hope for the best. I'm not going to keep them out of this process. They love the garden. And because they love the garden, they're willing to try absolutely anything that comes out of it, which I am so grateful for. My kids have always been really, really good eaters, and I just contribute that to the fact that we've never shied away from anything as a family. And so sometimes my little ones are asking for salads and all sorts of peppers and veggies, and I like to make sure that we have that stuff available. Now, here's the shelving that I was talking about down in the basement. I did grab a grow light off of Amazon and just use zip ties to secure it to my old wooden shelving, and it's working out really, really well. So I'm hoping that we have a really great seed starting year. Even if they're not going to be ready at the absolute first frost, I'm not super worried about that. I actually typically plant another set of tomatoes in late June, so I'm hoping that the upgrade of my seed starting stuff will really help me get some off to a great start. With that complete, we are running out of time for a grocery pickup, and my kids are ready for a snack. So instead of just grabbing something processed, I am making them some popcorn here to take on the road. I love to pop our popcorn at home and avoid the microwave popcorn at all costs because I want to use some lard or some bacon grease to make sure that they're getting a really healthy fat. Plus, we use an organic popcorn. I also like to put tons of butter on top. I know that might sound contrary to like a lot of present day nutritional advice, but the fact is our bodies need fat for our brains to be healthy and happy. And I really think that kids often struggle to get that in today's low fat, no fat diet. So when we do a snack like popcorn, we always make sure to increase the good fats with a beautiful butter melted on top, as well as that lard or bacon grease, and then toss it with some really good salt so that there's something of substance there for them to eat. Now, in order to take this on the road and not have an absolute disaster, I like to pull out the old brown bags and get them filled up as best as possible. Now, I might be one of the biggest problems with the mess of popcorn around here, but we had to get it done. With that complete, I had to change clothes really fast. My goodness, when the storms came through, which they absolutely did, they took our warm, nice weather with it. And I sent the kids off to get their last minute things accomplished while I ran upstairs to take care of me. And then we hit the road so we could go grab our groceries. We're supposed to meet the truck to get them at 6 o'clock. So with our distance from where we're headed, we were cutting it a bit close, but it worked out really, really well. Once everybody was ready to go, we headed out to hit the road. Our grocery pickup, or the closest location, honestly, with a stoplight, is 30 minutes away from where we live, and that's not because of traffic. That's just because of distance. We are in a very rural community, and to get produce or any sort of large quantity of organic foods, it's just not going to happen anywhere locally. So we shop Azure Standard. If you're not familiar with Azure, they have semi trucks that they send out all across the country with orders that we put in and then deliver them to certain drop off points all around the country. Now, as you can see, the storms had passed us, as I mentioned earlier, but they were still around. It was pretty dark outside, and with the drive ahead, some of my kiddos brought projects to play with. This little guy is working on a sewing class that we recently been to, and he was stitching up his own little football out of an old bed sheet that we were putting in a donation bin. So that's kind of fun to see where all that goes. Now here we are pulling into our pickup. You can see all these other cars are loading up their produce, and all of this food is sitting out on the ground with our names on it for people to come and pick up. So instead of spending hours in the store all throughout the month, I order everything online, show up, pick it up, and take it home. Now, I usually am a little bit earlier and help with the unloading, but they actually had all of this unloaded before the actual pickup time, so they jumped in a little bit soon. I had ordered baking soda and my mom needed some. She also comes to the drop. So I went ahead and popped this bag open to send some home with her. And then, check out these apples. They are absolutely huge and they were just as good. We love getting them. We usually buy at least 20 pounds of apples from them at a time, and they stay fresh for as long as they will last. It looks like that box you can see there on the porch is going to last maybe 4 days because they are so good that the kids have went absolutely wild eating them. But typically we can get 2 or 3 weeks out of a 20-pound box, and we can get the full month out of a 40-pound box without them going bad. Now, as you can see, unloading is a family affair, and this guy obviously knew there was a camera here. Watch. Yeah, he knew there was a camera, and he decided it was time to be a little bit silly, so I'm leaving this in. If he wants to show you guys what a real day is like in our house, silliness is a part of the issue. Let this silliness continue with this one. I guess she's auditioning for her next job as a box delivery person because she is really handling this one with care, if you know what I mean. But our porch is quite huge and works as a really nice runway to bring in all the awesome things that we have purchased. Now here I went ahead and grabbed out some meat to have for an upcoming dinner before going ahead and grabbing the last precious package out of the van, which was my beautiful little lady who tends to want carried. She actually was super funny in the car. She had taken off her shoes on this occasion, but sometimes she just stands there until I come and get her. And I know I could push her to self-sufficiency, but the truth is, I love taking care of my kids and I love being there to help. The to-do list is complete, but I still have a house full of hungry kids. Now, most typically, I would not be starting dinner at 7:30. This is obviously a fail/win on my part. The time that I should have been making this meal is when we planted the seeds, and we are so far behind, and everybody was really into that project. That is why we popped the popcorn to have a little snack to take with us. So I threw together a quick pot of chili. After the rain, it was really welcome, and we actually hadn't had a pot of chili in quite some time, so the guys were super excited. This is one of their favorite meals and something that as spring starts to cut around the corner, we really do limit. So this was a great thing to throw in at the last minute, and everybody kind of has their own way of fixing up their bowls, so I kind of just put them over on the side and let everybody tackle exactly what they're wanting to make sure that I don't get the wrong thing in any specific bowl. Of course, Miss Independent here wants to work on her own, and keeping her little pink poncho that she didn't want to take off out of the mess is not quite as easy as it should be. Now, 8:20 is a really late dinner time, and I get it, but like I said, that's why the kids sleep in late. The beauty of homeschool is that we can sleep as late as we want and get up as late as we want. After a run through the dishes and cleaning down the countertops, everybody else pitches in and we really get moving to get the kitchen tackled as an entire unit, getting the house ready to go for the next day. I find that when I wake up in the morning with the kitchen all clean It really just sets the stage for the entire day. So that's it. That is a day in my life. They don't all look the same. Actually, none of them look the same. Are you tired yet? I know I am. I want to thank you for spending a day with us. I hope to see you back soon. And if you have any questions or comments, please drop them down below and make sure to subscribe. I love sharing what's going on around my family with you, and I hope you enjoy it just as much as I do. Thanks for stopping by, friends. We'll see you back soon.